Yo, what is going on, friends? Welcome back to another edition of Garbage on Ice, the musical. I felt like I felt like this was a good opportunity to come on and yell about some stuff, and I wanted to take you on a little conspiracy journey. So gear up, rest your bag on a cooling pillow, because I'm about to just drive one into your brown eye real quick here. This is a pretty significant day here on the planet of Earth, especially for folks over in the United Kingdom, London area. As today, as many of you know, the Queen died. The Queen. And, just curious if anybody else just thought that was normal that we have a queen. I don't know, just a stupid American or whatever, but hold up for a minute. I wanted to take you on a little journey, a little conspiracy journey, if you wouldn't mind. So anyhow, before I get started, I want to thank you all for being here. Please make sure that if you don't already, please follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and please leave a review if you would not mind. Go to bobbysauceshow.com and leave a review. Tell me I suck. Tell me you don't like me. Whatever you want. Crank my bag. Pound one in my balloon knot. Whatever you want. Just go there. Leave a review. Don't care. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's bad. Just do it. The shirt I'm wearing today and the sponsor for this show and basically any and all shows, because I don't have any sponsors, I'm wearing the Ban Crime, Make Crime Illegal, literally ban everything shirt, which is available for sale on bobbysauce.com. Free shipping over $50. Free shipping anywhere in the planet. Free international shipping over $100. 100 Joey Basement inflationary clams. Now that we got the garbanzo beans out of the way, let's get right into it. First of all, does anybody? Okay, I don't know all that much about British royalty, UK royalty, whatever. I don't know much about the goings on of what occurs over there. We got enough problems here. We got John Kerry. We got a lot of problems here in Los Estados Unidos. You only need a single Ojo to see that. So I don't pay too much attention. I try to focus on what I can control. I try to focus on my own country, and especially when I talk about other countries, they're like, "Shut up, you stupid Yank," and then they say like a mean and or offensive word, like on the interwebs. It's just tubes, and they just get arrested for it, and they're just like, "Stupid Americans, our health care is free." Is like a 79% of their paycheck just gets squandered, and then they just fly to the United States to get their health care. But whatever, who cares about that? You know what I mean? Okay. Anyways, they're like, America sucks, and then they just move here and live in New York City and get rich here, and then they're like, stupid America. It's like, yeah, is that why you're here? Okay, cool. I love listening to people from foreign lands come here, prosper, make like $50 million, and then just have like a talk show on HBO where they're just like making a quadrillion clams as they shill for the state. And then they're like, thanks, AT&T, as they sign the back of their check. And they're like, stupid America, Ted Cruz. It's like, I don't like Ted Cruz either. I'm just saying, like, if you hate America so bad, pound sand, jabroni. I don't know. I'm just saying, no one made you come here. But you obviously came here to prosper. But whatever, who cares about that, right? Who cares about facts and, like, things that actually happen or whatever? But, yeah, it's just, like, there's this one particular guy on Instagram. and he lives in New York City, I think, and he's like from Scotland, and all he talks about is how stupid America is. He's like, in Scotland, one guy shot a gun once, and then we banned guns for everybody. Scotland. It's like, move back to Scotland then, Jabron. No one's forcing you to be here. Obviously you see the value of this locale, you jabron. Like, maybe you wanted a little bit of flavor in your food. No, you know what I mean? Never been to Scotland, I don't know, but like, I don't like potatoes. I'm just saying, like, how much cabbage can you have? Just kidding. These are jokes on the comedy stream. Everybody relax. Everybody just tone it down. So anyhow, I'm watching Cloud News Network today because it's hilarious. Because apparently CNN is like some like conservative like right wing organization now. Apparently, like the left has this way where they just turn on everybody that's not like blindly following their diktats at any given moment. They're just like that. They're like, they fired Humpty Dumpty. Stelter got fired. They're like, it's a right wing organization. It's like you're so woke you cancel yourself, but whatever, who cares? But okay. But yeah, these people are to be trusted. Let's let them run everything. That seems like fun. That seems fun. They're just like, and then you just have John Fetterbean wearing his hoodie in freaking Pennsylvania. He can barely get a sentence out, and he's like, they're like, John, they're like, if you had a magic wand and one wish from a genie, what would you do? He's like, let all the murderers out of prison. It's like, cool, let's vote for him for Senate, 6 years, cool. And they're just like, Fetterbean. They're like, they're like Dr. Oz likes crudité. It's like, who cares? This guy wants to let criminals out of prison. That's your man. All right, I guess. I guess that's fine. They're like, Fetterbean, he has a hoodie. He represents me. He is relatable. He has a Carhartt hoodie on. He grew up inside a steel mill. He is made of steel. He is mostly steel. He's a steel man. Steel. Even though Fetterbean grew up getting paid by his dad and never had a blue collar job in his life, but he represents the working class. It's like the master sloganeering, master manipulators, master marketers of the left are so good at marketing. They marketed themselves out of their own logic, but whatever. Vote for Fetterbean. He's a steel man. He loves steel. It's like, this dude cannot formulate a literal sentence, but that's their strategy now. So, okay, he lives underneath a steel plant. It's like, cool, I don't care. He's like, stupid Dr. Oz in his mansion. It's like, oh, you mean he created prosperity for himself and succeeded in life and is a literal doctor? I'm not saying I like Dr. Oz. I'm not here to like shill for Oz, but I'm just saying, if you're going to say that somehow Dr. Oz is counted out because he got a medical degree and made millions of dollars prospered for himself, like, okay, yeah, in his stupid mansion. It's like, okay, what's better, Fetterbean in his lifted truck? He's like, climate change. I had to drive my truck all the way to the steel mill. It's like, congratulations, dude. What do you do? Like, what are you talking about? But all right, yeah, I guess he's great. He's made of steel. He's a steel person. Okay. But yeah, let's get the guy in that can't say the sentence. Tucker was putting clips of him on last night, and he's like, whatever happened with people who said prosperity? And he's like, Dr. Oz is making fun of a person with a disease. It's like, no, you had a stroke. You're struggling to formulate sentences. And honestly, I'm not too sure how clear your thinking was before, but pointing out what is literally true when you're supposed to represent the people and be sound of mind and word and represent other human persons here in the United States, maybe you should be able to say a couple sentences. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, what an unreasonable request. Anyhow, back to the topic at hand. What I wanted to talk about was the Queen. I wanted to just noodle you down the yellow brick road for a minute. It's made of steel. He has a hoodie on. Okay. Just a question, serious question. And I said this a couple times on TikTok, and people are like, what's your problem with him? He has a hoodie? Yeah. That's my problem, that he's got a hoodie on. Wear a collar, dude. Like, collar. It's just, he's like, and their response to everything is crudite. Oh man, I love TikTok. You guys are so awesome. It's like everyone on TikTok is mad in their basement. They're like, meatloaf, ma, the meatloaf. All right. So again, not to go into conspiracy territory, but just out of curiosity, if you think that Elon Musk is the richest person alive on the earth right now, I hate to break it to you. And I want to give everybody some homework. Don't do it now. Watch the show, then go to bobbysauce.com and buy a hoodie or something, or go to bobbysauceshow.com and vote for and rate the podcast. But if you go on Wikipedia and you type in Queen Elizabeth and you look at her page on Wikipedia, and this is Wikipedia, let's remember, it's edited, okay? But you can glean a lot of truth by just looking at Wikipedia. So do me a favor, go on Wikipedia and click on the page for Queen Elizabeth and click on her father. And then after you click on her father, click on her father's father. And then after that, click on her father's father. And I'm going to fast forward just for all you, because I did all the hard work before the show, I went back and followed Queen Elizabeth's father's lineage to as far back as Wikipedia could report, to a point where it got to so far back that the person's father is unknown. And it kind of suggests that even he didn't know who his father was. So obviously we don't know, but let me just walk you through it. Queen Elizabeth's father's father, going back, I don't know how many it was. It had to be like 30, honestly. Probably 30. Was born in the year 973. And this guy fought in some war or something, and I'm not going to bring it up because this computer is the one that has all the details. This one's just whatever, so I can't reference it right now. But you could do this journey just like I did, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you go back to the father, all the way back to the beginning, he was born in 936, the year 936. Like 1,070 years ago. Almost 1,200 years ago. And if you go forward past him, the first one, that person was like a highly elected official, like a prince or a sultan or something absurd, right? And if you go further than that, literally every single person is like the king, the emperor, the sultan, like the Duchess of Cornbread or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's all high up, right? And if you look at this guy, Queen Elizabeth's father's father, 20 people back, is wearing white gloves and like a white fur, like king, like emperor's robe, with a sword made of gold, and like this perfectly thing, like. This dude has like a beautifully handcrafted sword that like to this day would cost like a ton of money, even with modern technology. And this guy 1,100 years ago had white gloves and a shawl. Like people in the United States were like eating beans off a bush, eating berries off a bush at this time. And this dude has like an emperor's robe and like a golden sword and like a chalice. And you're going to fucking tell me that Elon Musk is the richest person in the world when 20 fathers ago, 1,000 years of wealth, 1,000 years, 1,000 years of wealth has been passed down. And you're going to tell me that Queen Elizabeth, who died in a fuddrucking castle in Scotland, A literal castle in literal 2022. Literal, a castle. You're going to tell me that Elon Musk has more money than a person who has been rich, whose family has been rich for 1,000 years. In one lifetime, Elon Musk created more wealth than a person whose family has been royalty for 1,000 years. It's like, okay, I've got a bridge to nowhere that I want to sell you an investment on. Like what? So this just illustrates to me a much more important point. Okay, the entire planet, with the vast majority of people currently residing on this mysterious blue spinning Earth blob in this Milky Way galaxy amongst clearly sky beings. You know what I mean? They live under the sea. They live on the dark side of the moon. The moon is made of cheese. But people believe that Elon Musk and dollar bill fences and all these people are it's in the Forbes list. It's the number one. It's like, yo, tune in. You know what I'm saying? It's on Wikipedia. It's free. It's not like you have to go to the library. It's not like you have to go to the National Archives and be like, and go through what are those things called? I'm old enough to know when you went to the library and you pulled out the cards. Oh, what is this? Section 4, Section B. It's like, you just need to go on Wikipedia from a literal device from anywhere in the world and you can see this. It's like 1,000 years. So let's just pretend for a second that you agree with me that Elon Musk is not the richest person in the world and that a family that's been able to pass down wealth for 1,000 years might have more money than Elon Musk, for example. A catalog, that's it. If you're going to tell me that you think that Elon Musk or whoever, Jeff Bezos or whatever, has more money than these people or more power than these people, I just don't know what planet you're on. I don't know. I feel like we are not currently residing on the same uncrustable here on the earth. It's like, dude. So Queen Elizabeth and Queen Elizabeth's family, her fathers, going back 20 some odd years. You're talking like emperor, king, sultan, whatever you want to call it, the leader, the ruling class of these places. You hear all these tales if you do just a little bit of basic research. It's not like you got to dig deep. And they talk about how the king and whatever, and the sultan and whatever, they ran all these like very oppressive regimes where like they had slaves, they treated the peasants like these people are living like royalty in literally the year 900. Like I said, this guy's got like a machined sword with white gloves on. I don't think a person had a white pair of gloves in the United States of America till like 1904, but whatever. And we have to remember that while these people, Queen Elizabeth and her family's rule was in charge, the United States became the United States. You know, like no taxation without representation, like sail away for the new world, like build a country where perhaps we're not under the long pen 15 of the emperor for a little bit, you know? So in what can probably be classified as the last possible journey for this to even occur, which was in 1776. Well, actually, it was before 1776, 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But until 1776, when we were established and we declared our independence, this country was created as a way from separating from that power, from separating from that rule. And they were willing to go up against a power structure that by all objective measure, they should have lost to. They had more firepower. They had more people. They had better weapons. They had better equipment. They certainly had more money. So much money, in fact, that they built 7 ships to send them across here. Now, we can debate whether or not, what was the real reason that they came. I'm sure they didn't just come just for the fun of it, like I don't think Columbo just was like, yeah, let's ride out, I don't think that is what occurred. I think they came here for a lot of other things, money and such, riches, etc. But when we declared independence from these people, her family was in control of that place. And here you have a descendant now passing down to more descendants of her family. And this is in 2022. And somehow, despite all this, despite the fact that you can go on Wikipedia and see the lineage of this person going back, just from what we can see, to the year 973, 1,000 years. It's like, you think that her family is the only family that has ruled for such a long time? You got 10 kids, this huge empire of money and power. You think that there's only one family in the world that is like that? So it's like, where's the ruling class that exists for the remainder of the world? Where else is there some monarchy, lineage, whatever, that's like that? Because I would wager that there's probably a lot of them. There's probably one in Germany. There's probably one in Austria. There's probably one in France. There's probably one in Italy. There's probably one pretty much everywhere. Certainly anywhere that has a lot of money. And I would wager that it's probably in a lot of other places as well. But this is just what we know, right? This is just the information that's made available to us at any point. They're like, look, she's in a castle. She's a nice old lady. She's not. And if you watch CNN right now, or you watch these, they're like, look, she has on her gemstones. And it's like, dude, we are living in the same jungle that people lived in 1,000 years ago. It's just people feel like we're in this different place, when in reality, people just believe we're in this safe and beautiful world because they trust the oblong box in the corner of the room, because they trust this nice, shiny, polished world where we have all these things at our fingertips. We don't have to go out and toil for food or for water. We have electricity and running water and all these other things, at least in America and all the developed countries. But the power structure is still the same. They're only going to give you just enough to keep you serving the establishment, to keep you in compliance, to keep you staying long enough so as to not go against them. All they need to do is remain in power. And the people that are in power that we don't see as easily, the same thing. They're not going to make it as obvious. That family is obvious. They live in a castle in the center of town, for Christmas sake. There's a camera on the building every single day. Yet despite that, this lineage that has all this money, there's all of these scandals. And that's just the scandals that we're made aware of. And then you have her son, obviously, who's done some pretty bad things, or her grandson or whatever, like doing really horrible things. And that's just what he got caught doing. Yet this guy roams free, right? All these horrible things that any other person would have gone to prison with 5 life sentences for. And this guy's just chilling. And he paid off that one gal. So it's like, okay, so you have 1,000 years of rule. You have 1,000 years of money. You have all this going back all this time. Well, that is not the only family that's like that. So there's like dozens, if not 50, whatever, families such as this. And I would wager the following. There are approximately 25 families, totaling probably about 100 people, that probably run the entire world. I would wager that the vast majority of them are men. Not because I'm a sexist, just because that's probably what it is. There are 100 people that run the world. And if a guy, her father's father, 1,000 years back, had a white shawl and white gloves and they were eating pigs on the spit in a castle in Scotland in the year 1100 and whatever, and all of these bad things, all of these things that we've heard about through history, the winners write the history. Let's not forget about that. Just the things that we've heard about. It's like her family has been in control while all this stuff has happened. Yet there's been all of this suffering. There's been all of this bad stuff. And then here, advanced to now, we have this developed world where we have the technology to send satellites to Mars. Yet we can't figure out how to get clean water to Mississippi. We can't figure out how to get people to stop dying of preventable diseases in other countries. You have a continent like Africa that's one of the most nutrient, natural resource rich countries in the world that just gets pillaged, and people there are suffering to this day, and in so many places in the world. And of course, the United States is not outside of this equation. Certainly we participate that to some degree, but I would wager that we do a whole lot more good than any other nation. We do a whole lot more good for the freedom of the individual than any nation has ever done in the history of time. I think that that's pretty objective. Yet despite all this and despite all this suffering, when you watch TV now, they're like, oh, look, here she is in 1973. She has on a red crown and a jewel worth $1 billion. And it's like, why are people worshiping these people? And on TV today, I forget what it was. I think it was on the BBC. They were talking about, there's this clip that's going around online right now where they were like, 1 million people in the UK are suffering because the cost of power and energy and whatever is so expensive. And he's like, but that pales in comparison to this news about the Queen. And he's like, yeah, it does. And it's like, what? You're talking about 1 million citizens in a developed nation struggling to heat their homes. That, you know how many people are going to suffer and perish this winter because of this energy? People don't even have the capacity to see 5 feet in front of them. Cold weather kills far more people around the world every year than heat does. Yet everybody's all worked up on this heat, the Mother Earth, Gaia, she's peeing on, whatever. You know how many people are going to suffer this year? And Tucker's been doing some really great reporting on this in the past couple of weeks, talking about how in Germany, people are like buying all the cordwood to heat their homes. We have developed nations. We have people that are building hotels in space. Hotel rooms in space. People are going to space for fun. They're just blowing off these rockets to go to space just for fun, to go for a couple of hours. Yet we can't figure out how to get oil and gas. So I just hope that people can understand and kind of read the tea leaves on this and just draw a couple conclusions. Every single thing that is occurring right now in the world is by design. There's just no two ways about it. If a guy had a crown worth $1 million 1,000 years ago, and we can see that he's the Duchess of Cornbread and the Prince of Persia and the Sultan of Cornwall or whatever else, and this has been going on for 1,000 years. Well, they had investors, they had bankers, they had people in their inner circle, they had people that did their dirty work, they had all these things. And any person that was in some reign of power would figure out how to get their tentacles into anything that represented any possible or potential threat for their rule. That's how they stay in power. Right? How would you do that? You would make sure if there was a social media platform, for example, that had the distribution to spread the truth, that you owned a piece of it and or had some rights and or some limitations that you could impose on that. Certainly on a person. So let's go above the person. Let's just go to a company, a corporation. If you thought that a company could make a ton of money because you have all the money and you have all the power and all of the authority and you can dictate what happens in the halls of power, you would either destroy that person or that company or that entity, or you would own a piece of it and hold influence over it. And this has happened for the history of human existence. That's how these types of families stay in power. And the things that would come out, the truth, you would just cover them up. You would find ways to hide them. How would you do it? You would control the means of distribution of information. You would control what people can think. And in many developed nations around the world, the only place that is left where you can actually say things, where you can actually dissent against the controlled narrative about the story that they tell you is the truth, is the United States of America. It is the last remaining place on earth where you can speak freely and independently protect yourself. It is the freest nation on earth, even though these jabrones in Australia will be like, freedom index, freedom index. America's not on the freedom index. You can take your freedom index and shove it up your balloon knot, because that's the biggest load of garbanzo cheese I ever heard in my life. What's a freedom index? All I have to do is read the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, and you can take your freedom index and shove it in your brown eye and pound sand, jabroni, because I don't care about a freedom index. If you can't speak and or dissent against the people that are ruling over you, I don't care what the freedom index says. That sounds like some stuff that a person that's got their thumb directly lodged into your brown eye that could control you like a puppet would give you to make you feel like you're better than some other player. Oh, we're on the freedom index. What, dude? What universe are you living in? That's the type of stuff that a person in power would tell you. They'd be like, Jeff Bezos is the richest man alive. Elon Musk is the richest man alive. My great-grandfather, 50 generations ahead of me, had a freaking castle and a sword made out of the tears of the peasants, made out of pure solid gold and moon rocks. You're telling me that this family's lineage didn't communicate with aliens at some point? You're telling me that they don't know what's really going on in the world? You're telling me that they're not connected to the intergalactic order that really runs the world? I'm just saying, come on, guys. What are we talking about? This woman died today in a castle in Scotland. There's people right down the street from you that are sleeping on a concrete sidewalk that can't figure out how to get food, that are ODing on fentanyl, that's getting shipped over here, and walking right over the border. And then the PR representative that's supposedly speaking for the leader of the most powerful nation that the world has ever known, the freest nation that the world has ever known, gaslights you and lies directly to your face on mainstream TV. And then all of the networks that are all bought, sold, and paid for by the same group of families that run the rest of the corporations and the rest of the remaining world just lie to you right to your face. And then any person that dares to question it, look at it, pay attention to it, that person's crazy. They're running this mega massive psyop that could not be more obvious to any person that just pays attention. And the only people that are able to truly understand and truly be free of that trap are people that rely on no one but themselves. And there's always some limit. There's always some limit. There's the loose end in your family. There's the loose end in your social circle. There's that bad thing that you may have done, the skeletons in your closet, whatever it may be. It's the group that you're a part of, the social circle you're part of, the job that you have, the community that you're in, whatever. You don't want to be ostracized. So it's much easier to just play along and follow the rules and stay within your bubble. But meanwhile, every other person around the entire planet that actually sees the truth, the people that get to a point where they can distribute it at a high level, most of those people get purged into nothingness and disappear. It's Jeffrey. Oh no, the camera's turned off, whatever. So it's just like, I hope that we can all understand that this is going on. And I'm not saying you need to go in. I'm not saying that you need to run into the town square with your pitchfork. I'm just saying, could we maybe understand for a second, while everybody is getting lost in this equation, that choosing to give your own power away to some centralized authority under the idea that they're going to help you more than you could help yourself or your community could help yourself is the most preposterous, backwards, upside down psyop that's ever been placed on the people in the history of time. Imagine how amazing and how much these people got to be laughing in the halls of power when they're like, people are marching down the street begging the state to take their rights away, to take the rights of their other citizens away, take away their protection device, take away their money, tax them more, tax their fellow citizens, tax the rich for now until it's not the rich, till it's the kind of rich, till it's the sort of rich, till it's the not so rich, till it's the average everyday person, till it's everybody. That's exactly how it goes. That's how the income tax went. That's how every single thing has gone forever. We used to get taxed in the United States like 1%. And if you listen to people like Ron Paul, who's been right about everything since the beginning of time, it's like, this is a huge trap, and so many people can't understand the truth, and if they do understand the truth, they're afraid to speak it. It's insanity. Yet now you're going to turn on your TV through this very controlled, very homogenized down message that they want you to say, look, she's old and friendly, and you should show your... It's like, dude, They're running every person into the ground, and we have just enough food and just enough water to stick till the next corner. But you're going to think that these people have your best interest in mind when they've been eating the pigs and the berries and all of the things since the beginning of way before probably you even know where your family tree goes. Yet this person's living in a castle that's been passed down for 30 generations, that's richer than you could ever imagine being, with more power and more authority, so much authority, in fact, that our own president goes over there and meets them as a requirement, so to speak, of the office, of the country that we supposedly broke apart from. But they go over there and they're like, look, she doesn't come here. She doesn't fly to DC to sit in the Oval Office. Yet you have a guy that's in there that's 80-something years old that can barely formulate a sentence. You're getting gaslit by all the leaders of the most powerful states in America. You got people like Gavin Newsom sitting inside in an air-conditioned room wearing a fleece jacket in the middle of a fudging heat wave trying to tell you that you need to, I'm keeping my AC at 78. How stupid are you to think that this guy is actually telling you the truth? How many times do these people need to whip out their Pen 15 and slap you across the face with it and then blast it sideways into your balloon knot for you to realize that these MFs do not have your best interest in mind? Yet people will go out and they'll be like, take away the guns, take away the taxes, tax the rich, eat the rich, AOC, she's slaying, she is slaying, she is so relatable, she is so relatable, relatable, she's just like me, she's just like me, she represents Queens. It's like, this chick is a useful idiot of the people in power, and every person, the 95% of people living on the planet, forget even the United States, 95% of the people living on the planet are completely clueless or feel like they can't contribute to this, or they have no idea what's actually going on. And all you got to do is use a little bit of deductive reasoning and go on Wikipedia and click Queen Elizabeth, father, and go back and see the guy that is so old that there's not even a picture, that some artist had to draw a picture of this guy. And and not only that, this is a picture that's beautifully done. It looks like a photo that was taken with a 4K camera last week, and this person was able to paint this in the year 1100. You know how much money that must have cost? You know where that picture probably is right now? It's probably in the castle that she died. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, what? And people are like, yeah, the planet. It's like, you're out of your mind. You are so clueless. They have psyoped the whole world. And like, people are like, save the planet. Just turn down your AC. It's like, and it's like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. They're like, buy an $80,000 electric car when you can't afford a pound of bacon. And then one day later, they're like, don't charge your electric car. And then over in, I think it was Switzerland today, they're talking about potentially jailing people that use too much power, that turn their thermostat over a certain degree. Are we not seeing how obvious this is? Can we not see 5 feet in front of ourselves to understand what's going to happen? How clear does it have to be? How much pain and destruction and savage behavior from these families and these people over the course of centuries do people need before they realize how clear this is? Take away your ability to speak and dissent. Take away your ability for self-preservation. Take away your land, turn off your power, regulate your water, the literal lifeblood of your human body. You're using too much water. You can't eat the meat, eat the bugs. You will eat the bugs. It's like, dude, and people are cheering this on and celebrating this to such a degree that it's deranged. And they're like, yeah, let's tell a 7-year-old that they can change their gender by just lopping it off. Let's get them dosed up on pharmaceutical products that makes them 19 times as likely to end their own life. Let's do that. And this is mainstream health. This is health now. And then they force you to line up for a mysterious juice from the most corrupt company, the highest fined company in American history. And then they force you to get that as a prerequisite for you not being removed from your job, removed from your family, unable to bury your loved ones. And they run this global psyop. And then as soon as it's over, meaning when they allowed it to be over because the evidence was getting overwhelming, they just move right to the next one. And if you follow James O'Keefe and Project Veritas and you watch the guy at CNN literally go, yeah, as soon as the clap is gone, as soon as the clap is no longer a concern, we're going to move right in to the climate because fear sells. The guy said it out of his face hole right there, broadcast to everybody on the planet for anybody to see. And people are like, nah. It's like the amount of emotional and mental manipulation that's going on at scale is mind-blowing. And everybody just has this box in the corner of their room or this device that tells them what is true. And then everybody, just like in the Salem witch trials, it's a witch, she's a witch, she's a witch. Throw her off the cliff and see if she flies. And if she does, she's a witch. And if she dies, well, then whatever. That's what we're living in. And we have this illusion that we are somehow smarter, better, or whatever than the previous generations because we have all these things, because we have a light in a car. But we are falling for the exact same traps. We are getting subjugated much like they did. I hope that's the right word. Subjugated. We're getting lied to and psyoped to a crazy degree. Yet, despite all that, people will scream at their neighbor. They will scream at their family members. They'll fight with their family members and then go and talk about it, how stupid it is and how crazy their family members are. And they'll go talk about it like Jennifer Lawrence just did. And it's like, you can't even help yourself. Like, you're so brainwashed that you can't even help yourself. You can't even see outside of the limitations of your own mind. And it's like, that's why I've said a million times, and I will continue to say, that if you want to change the world, if you really want to do that, which is something that I remember thinking about a lot when I was a kid, I was like, the world's all discovered. You know, I want to be a person that discovers something or be a leader of some sort. What could I do? Everything is already done. It's not. One of the most heroic things that a person can do in today's modern age is be a distributor of the truth. To be a person that tries to help other people learn how to think. Not what to think, how to think. Not what to think, how to think. Hey, do some research. Hey, before you get fed the sensational story of the day, maybe watch the video yourself. Maybe look the article up yourself. And people like Benjamin Crumpets, who I absolutely despise and should be ashamed of himself. Benjamin Crumpets, for those who don't know, attorney Benjamin Crumpets will post every single video race baiting every single person imaginable to get angry about whatever is the thing that could possibly get him more cases so he can monetize his life. And people like Ben Crump and Sean King and Jamel Hill and Joy Reid, these people have no soul. And all they care about is enriching themselves by fueling people with hate. And it's not just them, it's so many other people, but they're just the ones I want to narrow in on. And people like Ben Crump, it seems like every other day, will share some video. Look, another innocent blank that this happened. And all they ever talk about is how, oh, every white person that commits some terrible act, well, they get a hug and a high five when the police walk them to the. Well, what about this psycho demon in Memphis? What about that guy? What did that guy look like? What did that guy do? He appeared to be arrested just fine. But no, don't watch that. Don't pay attention to that. Then there was another video a couple weeks ago. Unarmed person in their bedroom gets blanked by the blank. I watched the video. The cops were outside this dude's door for 20 minutes before they even opened it. And then they go in. It's more than clear the guy's there. If the guy didn't do anything wrong, why are you in a dark bedroom sitting on a bed? If he just walked out of the room and followed the rules, and I'm not saying this is every single situation, I'm just saying this guy could have spared his own life. And there are 5 million examples of this, and all of these demons that are just poking the bear to enrich themselves. And the trap that the world is in is not doing enough research. The trap that the world is in is not looking into stuff, not paying attention, outsourcing their discernment to some other expert, outsourcing their discernment to some other person that can be rich as a result of it. Be weary of any piece of information that comes across your life that involves in the person that's giving it to you becoming rich as a result, or something that you need to do to solve some type of crisis that involves you making a purchase. Be weary of any person that peddles that type of material. Because in the same way that people find it challenging to look at like a person that's in an abusive relationship, they'll be like, how could they stay in that abusive relationship? How could you stay there after they've done so many bad things? We, the people of the world, are in an abusive relationship with information and with people that are supposedly the authorities. And I'm not anti-institution. I'm not anti-government. I'm not anti any of those things. I'm just saying that human persons are corruptible. And I'm saying that more power being in the hands of the individual, of the free person, the free man and woman, is the most prosperous that the people of the world will make the people of the world the most prosperous that they could ever be. It's the bloated, overextending, all too powerful, long pen 15 of the state that ruins everything. Because the people that control those people, that anoint those people through dark and shadowy money and favors, are the ones that are really running the show. The people that get cycled through in a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year, 6-year, whatever cycle, 8-year cycle, those people are not in control. They're temporarily standing on the podium while the people that place them on that podium remain in power in perpetuity forever. Nobody elected Queen Elizabeth, as far as I understand. Nobody elected her father's father, going back 1,000 years. Yet through all this prosperity that they've been able to enjoy, there's people suffering right down the street. And all of those family members through all of that lifetime, think of all the good that could have been created. And I'm not saying that they didn't create any good, I don't know. But if you're going to look at all those things and all of that history and all that stuff, and you're going to lead me to believe that the story that they tell us that people lap up to and that they believe to be true is true 100% of the time, I think you're out of your mind. If you're going to tell me that Princess Diana just happened to crash under a bridge where no one could see, being chased by the paparazzi, I don't even know what planet you're on. I don't know what universe you're residing in, because they done been lying to you since the beginning of time. And now, with all this information, more information readily available to the average citizen that at any point in human history, how you could still believe the lie and take it hook, line, and sinker, every single story that they tell you. It's like, you really think these people are batting 1,000? You really think these people don't lie to you? You really think that that just happened to Princess Diana? You really think that Jeffrey Poopstain, that just happened? He just broke that bone in his neck that you basically can't break. That just happened? The guards just fell asleep? This guy got a sweetheart deal that allowed him to leave the prison for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week? You're going to tell me there wasn't a little bit of dark shadowiness in there? You're going to tell me that Hunter sniffs the parm and the photo that was just revealed on the leak of his cell phone of Les Wexner, of him in a car with Les Wexner, you're going to lead me to believe that Les Wexner has any reason to hang out with Hunter Parmesan? Are you out of your, are you living on the planet, dude? Can we pay attention for 5 seconds? It's like, dude, how are people so clueless is mind-blowing to me. The truth is out there. It's just like, yo, yet these people want to take the power away from their fellow citizens, not even understanding that the fact that we even have this freedom today is because the freedom was left to the people. And people don't even understand what our own Constitution even says. It says, and all of these founding documents that give us all of our rights, they are supposed to act on our behalf. And the ability for them to not act on our behalf is our right to change in these documents. Yet the vast majority of people don't even know what they say. People don't even know how a credit score is created. The single individual number that dictates your wealth more so than any other number that exists in American life is your credit score. And 95% of people have no idea how it even works. You never learned about it. They never taught you about it. And much like a person who remained a peasant, who was governed, who was dictated to, who was controlled, they don't want you to know how to read. Back in the day, they didn't want slaves to know how to read so that they couldn't read a sign that said north, because maybe they could get out of there. They didn't want them to know how to read. The same thing is happening today, not to compare it to slavery. I'm just giving an example where they tell you what to think. They tell you how to think. They tell you what's the truth, and they give you just enough information to keep you alive so that you're outputting value for them. You're buying your pharma products. You're consuming your oil. You're producing and outputting for the corporations. You're a useful instrument in a grand scheme. And they're not working. They're not worried about money. They can print money out of thin air. They can travel with impunity around anywhere in the world. They can boat, they can fly, they can jet set, they can yacht, they can do whatever. They can buy off anybody and commit any nefarious act that they could possibly want, and they could go to another point of the globe. They could start charities so that they remain in your good graces. They could paint a picture of themselves using HD 1080p, and 5,000 useful idiots will line up to distribute the message about how good and virtuous they are. They will show you the angle of the photo that they want you to see, the information that they want you to see, the voice that they want you to see, the aspects of their life that they want you to see. They'll silence the bad parts. They'll hide all the evil. They'll remain out of prison or out of the control of some other state by buying their way out of it, using hundreds plus 1,000 years of generational wealth to buy their way out of any problem. And if there's ever any person and or entity that represents a threat to their rule or a threat to their information or a threat to their power, they either beat them or join them. They either buy them, they acquire them, and they destroy it, or they acquire them and they make them become a talking head of themselves. They acquire the resources, they silence dissent, they acquire people that are in control of the legal structures of other parts of the globe. They funnel money around for whoever is the loose end in whatever country happens to be that one. They could easily go to a place like Africa, and you got the guy that's the king of or the ruler of some country or whatever. And I'm not even going to pick on Africa, but just use Africa as an example. They find a guy who they've got corruption. They've got corruption out the yin yang over there, and in a variety of other countries. And they just find the guy. Where's the loose end? We pass it through here. We steal your resources. The people suffer. The royal family gets enriched. Like the president of Afghanistan or whatever it was, the guy leaves on a helicopter with all the money, like with USD. He got like pallets of USD, and he's like, deuces. And it's like, What you're never going to find from me, because I'm just a single person operating here, you're not going to find me referencing all these factoids. I want you to do the research on your own, but I don't have enough time. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a way to think, a little bit of a way of how to think, and encourage you to do more research on your own. Because if we can just try to connect the dots of the reality of what's going on in the world, you can see that all these bad things, at least the vast majority of them, are by design. And if you're going to try to tell me that there's a family that we can track on Wikipedia that goes back to the year 937, and you're going to tell me that that family doesn't have more power and money than Elon Musk, then you and I, we are not the same. We're not living on the same universe. Because that's just one of a variety of different families that hold all the control and all the court over everybody else. In business, there's a rule called the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. And it basically says that 20% of your effort creates 80% of your results. It's like a rule of nature. You wear 20% of your sneakers 80% of the time. You talk to 20% of your friends 80% of the time. 20% of your clients create 80% of your wealth. 20% of your t-shirts, you wear 80% of the time. 20% of your wardrobe, you wear 80% of the time. 20% of the restaurants you go to 80% of the time. 20% of your efforts creates 80% of your results. It's just a rule of nature. 20% of the population lives, 20% of the countries have 80% of the population. It's just a rule of nature. So it's like 20% of the families of the world control the 80%. And then if you go down even further to 20% of the 20% and keep going down, it's like there's a small cohort of people that run the observable world as far as we know. They control the money. They control the people that make all the rules. They control the halls of power. They never get elected. They never lose power. They live in a castle in the middle of town in this one particular example. But there are many that are just like that. And a modern day king, a modern day emperor, a modern day ruler would probably be smarter than just having a castle in the middle of town. In this particular example, yes, that's the case. But the true emperor, the emperor of the world right now, and the 20 families that run it, the last thing they would want you to know is who they are. Every possibility of suppressing it would go that way. Because what happened to the kings of the past? Well, the castle's up on the top of the hill. Everybody knows. If the people realize there's just one castle and it's just got these walls and we have all these people here in the town square, if we just run up there, maybe we could figure out a way to solve it. The modern day king, the modern day emperor, the modern day ruler is not going to be stupid enough to put the castle at the top of the hill where everybody could see. So it's like, okay. Yet people just believe that these people are have so much altruism that they just want to help the world, save the world. They just want to make everything go green. You're out of your mind. Because what I think is occurring and what I think is happening and what I think is the direction of the world as made evident by just drawing conclusions based on what we see, what they write, and what they say is the following. A subservient and uninformed population is the easiest to control. A small population is the easiest to control. A lack of independent thinking population is the easiest to control. A poor, weak, dosed up on pharmaceutical product population is easy to control. They want you on pills. They want you depressed. They want you upset. They want you distracted. They want you dumb. And they want you working. That's just the baseline. Every time you get money that you work your whole life, they erode it away by printing it into nothingness. They can just print it away right out of your pocket. And people are so clueless, they don't even understand where inflation comes from. They think inflation comes from ExxonMobil, when in reality, inflation comes from the central bank, aka the government, aka the Federal Reserve Bank, printing money out of thin air and needlessly squandering it, overpaying it through the federal bureaucracy. That's how it happens. So they print all this money out of thin air, eroding the value of the money that's in your own pocket. So you can't have any money. They burn you out of that. Then the money that you have saved, your generational wealth that gets passed down from generation to generation, they take a slice of that. They want a bigger piece. And Joey Basement sniffs the parm, hide the kids. This dude they want to take more. And the left, they want to take more of this generational wealth. Pass it down. You're hoarding it. You're hoarding wealth. Not even understanding that wealth is created through savings and investment. Not in hoarding. You can't hoard your way to wealth. People are so clueless. They don't even understand the basis of money, yet they're lecturing everybody else on how money works, how cash works, how the economy works. You're clueless. Remain clueless. Stay silent, please. You don't know what you're talking about. So they erode the money out of your pocket. They take away your ability to speak. Everything's offensive. You can't say these words. You can't say those words. What's the digital town square? What's the town square of today? It's this, it's this, it's this, right? You can't, they don't want you talking about that. They don't want you saying those things. You get suppressed. You get deplatformed. You get removed from the conversation. You can't think outside the box. They got control. They got investments. They got their tentacles all up in there. Oh, it's misinformation. It's disinformation. It's this, it's that. Other words to get people to demonize. And then you have people that are such useful idiots. They're like, yeah, get them off there. Silence this person. Sooner or later, it's going to be you, idiot. They're only allowing you to say what they want you to say, but you're over here begging for it. You're clueless. Okay. So they take away your ability to speak and they try to demonize it. Then they take people like that guy, I think is in Scotland, that didn't say, I didn't call him a Zer, and that guy's going to jail for it. I didn't say that you're this Jandy. Jail. Then you have people like Jordan Peterson speaking truth, one of the most highly cited and decorated psychologists in the world. And they're just like, oh, he's an evil person. You have clown sneakers like Olivia Wilde saying that Jordan Peterson is some evil doer. It's like, no, you're an evil doer, Olivia. Like, produce something of value. Congratulations. Congratulations, you acted in a movie. Congrats. Jordan Peterson has done more in the last 12 months you'll ever do in your life. But whatever, we'll leave that up for another conversation. So it's like, okay, so people that think outside the box, remove them, silence them, deplatform them, remove them for the conversation, label them, demonize them, get them out. Take away your speech. Then they want to take away, like I said, your ability to self-preserve, your ability to protect yourself, your ability to be a person in a wheelchair or a woman or an elderly person or a person versus 5 other attackers. They take away your ability to protect yourself, and you have demons like Justin True Dumpster Fire being like, you don't have the right to protect yourself. You can shoot a bear, but you can't protect your home. You can't protect your children. You just got to stand there and wait for somebody. Wait for the Mounties to come. You're insane. Yeah, people are just in Canada like, beepity beep, bop, bop, syrup. It's like, okay. Good job, guys. You guys are doing great up there. Congrats. And look, I'm not trying to throw arrows at Canada, but like, dog, can you guys maybe get involved? I don't know. And like, again, we got a lot of bad things going on here. I'm doing my thing as much as I can here. So, you know, again, I'm not trying to demonize anybody. It's just like, could we maybe get involved, guys? Like, what are we talking about? Meanwhile, they're creating all of these wars on our behalf, right? And they're embroiling us in all these battles overseas for nothing, squandering our cash, sending hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, passing the largest bill in history, saying that it's going to reduce inflation when it's going to create the opposite. But people remain clueless. They don't even understand the basics. They don't even understand the basics of present day history. What's going on? It's like somebody could lie in their face with impunity, and they're like, yes, sir, may I have another? May I have another? Auntie Anne's pretzels. Give me some high fructose corn syrup, and give me a bunch of pharma pills so I can sit in my basement and cry. Oh, and by the way, cut off your Pen 15. You'll be free. It's like, okay. Woman of the year. Woman of the year. It's like, okay. All right. And then you have people that reach this supposed level of power, like Big Mike, and Big Mike is sitting on the podium in the White House talking about how there's a portrait of her, and she's like, America, this is how it should. Americans should know that in a place like America, you should have the ability to get to a place like this. It's like, aren't you evidence that you can, that you already did? Aren't you, specifically you, that just a gal from the south side of Chicago could just make it up to here? It's like, yeah. Because it's fair, jabroni. But no. You don't have a fair shake. Equity. We all start at the same starting line, but if you finish 5 miles behind, then we need to adjust everybody else's score so that we all finish at the exact same time. I check all the boxes. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, look at me. It's not about me, but I check all the boxes. You're terrible at your job. You got Krusty the Clown, the VP Crust, Montel Jordan. It's like, what did this person do to achieve this position? Nothing. You got a corrupt politician, Joey Basement, Joey 10%. It's like the whole thing. Every single person's getting bamboozled, and people think that like Joe Byron's gonna be the guy that saves the planet from sea level rise. Are you gone, dude? Hello, are we living on the same mysterious spinning blue ball? Are we on the crust together? Are we simultaneously on the crust? Because I don't even know. And people that see it, that see the truth, feel so alone in the world where they're like, yeah, it's like every time you turn on the TV, they're just brainwashing you, trying to convince you that nobody else understands, that nobody else sees the truth like you do. And that's why people find accounts like this and voices like mine. And I'm just one in a very vast sea of people that get it, or at least get it partially and try to distribute it. But it's like, that's what people are finally. How many people tell me that exact same message? It's like, this is my internal dialogue being played out. It's like, so much prosperity could exist in this world if more people just participated in the basics. And it's sad to watch people just like mindlessly fawning over these rulers, and being like, yeah, he'll save me. She'll save me. Just like standing in line and begging to be controlled when there's just hundreds of years, thousands of years of precedent showing what's happened. And you have somebody like Queen Elizabeth, not even just keep hammering on her, but it's like, if you've got a family that, if you're the 50th, it's like, if you're the 50th generation of people and they have and there's all these shows, right? They do these grand shows where everyone marches and all this money. It's like, if you really care, and they're talking about how much she gives back and all this other stuff, it's like, then no one should be suffering there. No one should be suffering in any of these places. But we're in such a backwards world that true altruism is not viewed as such. And fake altruism is endorsed as being so virtuous. The person that cares the most about the little guy is not the person that says how much they care about the little guy. It's the person who acts on behalf of the little guy. And if people had a little bit of discernment where they could understand and do some deductive reasoning and follow down the path and look at the cause and effect of this policy creates this result, this action creates this result, these words create this outcome, this person changed this person's life, one by one by one, brick by brick, they would understand the true heroic acts in our modern day world. But it's not coming from people like Joey Basement. Yet, despite how obvious it is and how much information is readily available to us, more information than has ever been available to any human person in the history of human existence is right now. The ability to distribute a message, specifically a message of value and truth, could never pass as quickly around the world in human history as it can right now. You got more information, you got more power, you got more tools, you got more distribution, you got more connections than any other person ever living in the history of time has ever had. Yet despite all that, despite all the information, despite all the distribution, despite all the connections, despite all the research readily available at your fingertips, 5G, 1080p, 4K, in your pocket, at the top of a mountain, every single day, from any point in the planet, people are like, nope. You could tell them right to their face, go look it up. And they're just like, nah. It's like, okay. So I repeat, the modern day warrior, the modern day act of heroism is truth distribution by as many people as possible. Every person doing their part to be a distributor of the truth, and not the people that say it's the truth, a distributor of the light, if you want to even go beyond the truth, a distributor of the light. Because the real altruism is believing that the people of the world deserve more power independently, Not that they deserve more handout. Not that they deserve more money from the state. Not that they deserve a free house and free school and a free car and a free plane ticket and a free meal ticket. They deserve the right to be able to create their own prosperity by keeping more of their money in form of lower taxes, by having access to the jobs that they choose to, and be willing to accept a job at whatever wage that adult chooses. You should be able to accept a job that's $15 an hour if you want, or $8 an hour, or $3 an hour if you want. Who is the state to say that you don't want to take that job? Because people don't understand the negative aspects, and they don't understand the collateral damage of what these policies do. They see, yeah, you should pay a fast food worker $22 an hour. They don't understand that by paying that fast food worker $22 an hour, you're actually ruining and eliminating that person's job to begin with. But they don't understand because it's fake altruism. They don't really care about other people. All they care about is making it seem like they care about other people. That's the only thing they care about. They only care about optics. It's not about action, it's about optics. And you say things like, we should abolish the Department of Education or severely reduce its power, authority, and monetary influence. And people are like, oh, because they don't understand what that means. If every state managed its own education independently and didn't have to squander money and send it up to the federal government for it to be lost in this huge bureaucracy, the kids would be better educated, point blank. All this indoctrination that we're seeing and made even more evident as a result of a average human person that decided to be great, James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, and the great work that they're doing, it's clear as day. You can watch them say, we discriminate in real time. You can watch them say, yeah, we do that stuff that you've always worried about. That's what we do. And people are like, nah. Okay. So it would be real great if people understood that more power being in the hands of the people, more of your money being in your own hands, your money actually being worth something as opposed to having the ability to be eroded away at any moment by them printing it into thin air. A better educated population is a better world. The smarter that everyday people are and the next generation, the better the world would be, the more prosperous the world would be. Lower taxes is good. Smaller government is good. More power in the hands of the people is good. More freedom of speech is good. Less taxes for any citizen, rich or not, is good. The government collects plenty of money. The difference is they needlessly squander it, giving favors to their friends, and as a result, all of us suffer from it. Yet people don't understand how to read the tea leaves, how to see what is clearly in front of their face. They can't draw even the most basic conclusions about any aspect of life, let alone how the economy works or how money works. And it's not that they're stupid. It's just that they sometimes either don't want to know or they don't want to do the hard work of knowing that they have to change something as a result of knowing. Because once you know, once you take the red pill, once you escape the matrix, there is no turning back. Once you realize what's actually going on, there's some human element, something that is just innate within all of us where you're like, yo, I need to do something about this. But so many of us have a tough time figuring out what exactly that is. And I didn't know for the longest time. How can I contribute? Now that I see beyond the curtain, how could I contribute to this? And I'm here to tell you, based on my own experience, a very simple truth. If you care about something and you believe that it has a great purpose, and you have the altruism where you care about other people and you care about the country and you care about what happens, not only for you, but for the people that are less fortunate than you or less informed than you, and you care about the present day generation, the kids and the future generations, whether you have kids or not, if you care about all of those things and you start to contribute into something, the world will find a way to rise the road to meet whatever is the target objective that you're going forward to. It has happened countless times throughout history where average people, everyday people decided to do great things. They realized that if not me, then who? If not now, then when? If I can't do it, who can? I'm going to go through my life, maybe the one that I have, maybe you have 100, who knows, but I'm going to go through the one that I know I have, the one objective life that I know that I have, and I'm going to do what? Nothing for it? I'm going to leave it with what? Money in the bank? It's like, this is so much bigger than us. It's so much more. And that's why I say being a truth distributor, being a person that teaches people how to think, not what to think, is like so heroic. And I'm not saying that I'm a hero. I'm just trying to contribute. But on August 19th, 2020, I cared, but I didn't know what to do. I made a video because I just wanted to. I was like, this is insane. I didn't have anybody in my social circle that cared enough to pay attention to what I had to say. I couldn't figure out how to change the conversation in my everyday life, so I just made a video about it. And I was like, I don't know, is anybody seeing this? This is stupid. I woke up on August 20th, 2020, and I had 5,000 followers on Instagram, and the video had 60,000 views. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't think that was going to happen, but it happened. But it's not the fact that it happened that is the tale. It's what happened after that. It's what happens when a person says, I care, I want to contribute. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? If all this is bad and I'm going to complain about it, how can I not do anything to try to contribute to it in some way, shape, or form? How can I not use my talents to do something to try to help this? So I was like, let me make another video. And over the course of the last 2 years, I've gone to events and gone to distribute the message as much as I can. I've answered comments. I've answered 50,000 DMs and interacted with all of these people. I've made t-shirts, thousands of t-shirts, different t-shirts that I use to finance the channel so that I can not go and take a full-time job, so I can not go and build a website, so I can not go and invest my time into doing some menial client task. So instead I could contribute back to what the market has told me that it wants me to do. And it's like, these are all means to an end of distributing the message. It's just following and playing the game. But I am no different than any other person on the other side of this microphone, on the other side of this camera. But I'm just trying to do what I can do. And instead of spending $7,000 on a hot tub, which I wanted to do, instead I bought that phone, I bought that light, I bought that light, I bought this computer, I bought this microphone, I bought this connection, I paid the guy, I bought this camera, and I upgraded the quality so that the distribution could go further as my contribution back to the equation. So that if I died tomorrow, I would know that I did something, at least I tried. And even though people could be like, oh, what did you do? You yelled into a microphone? Maybe. Or maybe I helped try to change people's lives, to encourage them to do something different. Maybe I encourage people to act a different way, say a different thing, go to a different place, integrate themselves into the mix. You have an everyday average person that just sat in this office right here in front of this computer building websites for 13 years. It was the only thing that I knew. And now I'm doing all this stuff. I don't know what a mirrorless camera is. I didn't know that this mic was good until I asked the right guy. I didn't know that you needed a $500 mic to sound that way. I'm still learning. I'm turning up the gain. I don't know what gain is. I don't know what this piece is, but it's just like, this is what I'm trying to do. So it's like, I'm not going to tell you, you can just see it, right? So it's like, I'm just one person. If every person that's watching right now or listening right now was to take some similar step, and I know so many of you are, the world would be a better place. Think of the distribution points and all the people that we touch. Think of the individual recommendations that you can change in an individual conversation with a family member, a friend. Change the conversation at the bar, at the church, at the whatever. Instead of going to the bar, what if you went to a political event? Instead of going to this place, what if you went to this place? Instead of going out and hanging out with a friend and talking about nothing, what if you talked about this? What if you went live? What if you started consuming a different type of content? What if you started making a podcast? What if you started posting? What if you started doing live streams on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and Getter and Rumble, and you started placing all these things in all these places? What if you figured out how to sell t-shirts so that you could take away the time that you were otherwise going to spend on a job that maybe you didn't like, or maybe you liked but you didn't think contributed back to the equation? What if you did that? Instead of looking at the selling a t-shirt like, oh, he's just selling a t-shirt. He's some patriot. He's a P-A-Y, patriot, whatever. What if you just realize that this is all part of the game? That in order to play the game, in order to win, in order to get the distribution to change the way that people think, in order to really change the world, that's the type of stuff that you have to do. That's what everybody else has done to get us to this point. I didn't get inspired to do this because I just thought of it out of thin air. I was watching other people and I was like, that's dope. That's so cool that that person's doing that. I'm not doing that. Could I do that? Maybe, but I'm certainly not going to sit here and believe and go through my life and die not knowing that I didn't even at the very least try, that I didn't even at least pay attention, that I didn't even look into it, that I didn't change the conversation that I was going to have with a person about some dumb shit and talk about something that actually mattered, that I'm not going to think about where does Queen Elizabeth come from? How does her father 1,000 years back, how did that guy live in a castle? And they're on TV fawning over this person. And it's like, who is she? How is this even there? How is there a king? How do we have a king? How in 2020 is there a king? Even just the word king. How did that not even change the word to king, from king to something else? Something that's a little bit more less attention drawing. I don't even know the right word. But how does that still exist? How do people sit here and say, yeah, buy an electric car, and then a day later they're like, don't plug it in? How do people sit in San Francisco and watch the leader of the 5th largest economy in the world, which is the state of California, watch this dude gaslight you 1,000 times in a row and tell you to turn off your air conditioning after 4 p.m., and then within the hour, they're going to have a laser show burning 10 megawatts of energy in San Francisco for a Def Leppard concert? How are you going to sit there and think that this dude cares about anybody? How are you going to sit there and think that these people aren't lying to you point blank, right in your face? There's a Lady Gaga concert happening literally right now in San Francisco right now, ripping through megawatts of power in San Francisco, while the family down the street that has their elderly parent plugged into perhaps an oxygen machine that doesn't have a backup could be hit with a rolling blackout, and that person could lose their life. But you don't give a shit. All you care about is looking virtuous in some fake, made-up, magical dream world of magic that you and all of your garbage friends live inside. You're living in a dream world, and everybody else is suffering as a result, so that you can parade around with your fake altruism and pretend like you actually care about the planet, like you actually care about people, while every single person's getting gaslit. There's a Lady Gaga concert in San Francisco right now, while a person might potentially experience a rolling blackout that could end their life. And nobody cares. All they care about is Lady Gaga. She's slaying, queen. There's a laser show, guy. 10 megawatts of power. While everybody's throating glizzies and drinking high fructose corn syrup, watching Lady Gaga parade around in devil horns and brainwash all these impressionable children and tell them to lop off their bags so that they can be the man that they always dreamed of, so they can finally be free. And these demons are running amok, destroying everybody. And nobody cares. And they're just like, yeah, good job, Mussolini. Give me another one. Stick it in my Dirt Star. I love this. It's like, you don't care about people, demon. Don't care about anybody but yourself. You're a steward of the darkness. You are a steward of evil. You are complicit in the exact same things that have ruined so many people on this world far beyond before you ever got here and many years into the future. But you don't care because you're living in a dream world of magic. And all these people that are, you think that Dwayne Wade's pool in Los Angeles that's pumping out hundreds of thousands of gallons of water and all this power, you think those people are turning that power off? You're living in an illusion. Meanwhile, they turn off all the nuclear power plants. They turn off the natural gas production. They create the problem. And as a result of the problem that they create, while everybody that has money that is parading around and LARPing fake altruism like they actually care about people and the world and whatever else, while these people are pretending in their dream world, all the people around them are suffering as a result. But they get to pretend like they care. They get to pretend like they're doing something of value. They got their podcast where they're like, look, Donnie's got a document. Donnie document. documents. He's selling nuclear secrets to the Middle East. Sure, demon, you're a steward of the darkness. You're so clueless that you can't even see 5 feet beyond what's in front of you. All you can see is the very bad orange man. The orange man, he's very bad. He's very orange. Mean tweets, $1,000 a gallon of gasoline. I don't care because I have an $80,000 electric car. I don't care. Meanwhile, the electrician that lives in rural Kentucky is about to lose his life or lose his job or lose his family or whatever because he can't afford to get to his electrician job because the price of gas is $3.80 a gallon. And this winter, when it gets cold, that dude's gonna suffer and maybe lose his house and then become a ward of the state and then be paid for by everybody else that's LARPing their fake altruism while they drift through their dream world of magic garbage existence, and then they toe the line for the state, the establishment, and every other family that runs the entire world. Meanwhile, they tell you to be mad at the person across the street because, look, here's a video of this guy that's not obeying the orders, the lawful orders of a police officer, and they end up losing their life as a result because they did something really dumb because they didn't have a father in the house to tell them you shouldn't do that, and then that person has to suffer, and then everybody has to get mad, and everybody's looking at skin color and what color is your skin, and oh, what's your name, oh, what do you do, and then everybody's just battling themselves while the people in power that have had their family at the top of the food chain in an MF castle in the middle of town for 1,000 years is just like, yeah. It's like, dude, are you guys living on Earth? Like, what planet are you on? I don't understand this stuff. And they're just like, look, Lauren Boebert's husband. It's like, shut up. You're a useful idiot. You're so clueless. We are in a trap. This political left-right, the right-wing trap, it's a trap. And the people that are running and control both sides of the equation, it's the same thing. Nature is a reflection of everything else. If you look at one thing, you can deduce what's happening in another place. BlackRock, for example, the company that owns Coca-Cola or a piece of Coca-Cola, they own Pepsi too. It's like Pepsi, Coke. It's this big battle. Who's going to win? They own both of them. It's just like, what universe are you on? Has anybody ever wondered how these networks will, in concert, just eliminate a person's existence from the internet? It's just like, boop, you're gone. Oh, they all just unanimously came to that conclusion? No, these people meet together. But you're... But you think Gavin Newsom cares about? It's like these people, like I said, everybody is in an abusive relationship with people in authority. They love it. They can't get enough of it. It's like, and it would be one thing if everybody was just suffering based on their own accord. But it's like, what would be the master chess piece? What would be the master Pen 15 slap to the face of people that really understood the truth? What would be the thing that just really just stuck it to them? Like, you are losing. You're not in control and you're about to get dominated. What would be the thing? What would be the last piece that would convince somebody that if everything else was so good and fine and everybody, you made your bed, you sleep in it, what would be the last piece that would be the ultimate slap to the face, the ultimate glizzy down your throat for where you can't breathe and you choke out? The most innocent among us, the children. It's very simple. It's like, take advantage of the people that are mentally incapable of taking care of themselves. Come for them. Yet that is exactly what they're doing in real time. You're going to see Joey Basement, Sons of Parm Fiend, sniffs the kids. You're going to let him tell you that reaffirming care, AKA lop off your Pen 15, reduce your bags, and grow a mustachio from some mystery pill, put a pause on nature, is healthcare. It's like, dude, what? Like, what are we doing? This is sick. It's so sick. It's sickening. And despite that, the ultimate chess piece. People are like, nah. It's like, it's tragic beyond measure that these people get to lie to us. But to go so much further and salt in the wound is how they're doing that to the next generation of kids. I don't even have kids, and I'm like, yo! It is beyond measure how dark that is. Yet, they're able to do it. And people are like, yeah. And I got in an argument in my DMs one time with a person that I like, honestly, that I was friends with when she lived here in Florida. And she has a kid that's whatever, you can figure it out. And she's like, oh, there's no adverse effects of putting them on. There's no stop. You can just put a pause on it. I didn't know until I went to listen to the experts. I didn't know until I went to listen to all these doctors. I didn't know, but I want to do the best by my kid. So I listened to these doctors and they said this. It's like, could you step back? I don't care what doctor is going to tell me that. You let a doctor convince you to take an otherwise healthy creation, like God's creation, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get religious and be like, feed that person pharmaceutical chemicals so that they can physically see what they believe that they are before they know that Santa Claus is not real. Like, bro, I don't want to come at her, but talk about abdicating your responsibility as the adult. Like, what are you doing? And aside from whether or not you want to believe that is true, how are you going to sit there and look at all the numbers that come out about what happens to these people that do this procedure or make this decision early in life or late in life? And then they come out and they say this. How are you going to look at all that evidence and be like, yeah, that's fine for my kid? Like, dude. So, aside from it being this very bad, dark, whatever, and all these bad things, the power, the energy, and all the other needless human suffering that's about to come as a result of all this information, all these encroachments that they keep taking with impunity that no one seems too concerned about, at least enough to fight back, even our own representatives, supposed representatives. There is so much needless human suffering that's happening as a result of this. And well-meaning, good people just sit idly by and are like, yeah. So I'm not telling you, and I mean you, watching, you. It's like, I hope and I believe that the fact that you even made your way to this type of content says a lot about who you are as a person. Some people are here to troll. Some people are here to see how stupid I might be or whatever is the case, and that's fine. But the people that are here for the right reasons, the people that even made their way to this degree of content, means that you see what is happening. And you certainly, and maybe, I hope, you're contributing in your own little way to figure out a solution for it. But if you're not doing that, I would ask that at the very simplest level, that you try to make yourself excel to the highest of your capacity first. And if you were to take any step at all, even the slightest step, I would hope that that would be the step that you would take. Because the big solution, the true solution to all of this, the end game, the origin of where the real change happens, is the same as on a plane that loses cabin pressure. You put the mask on yourself so you can get oxygen, and then you put it on your kid, you put it on the person next to you. Because if you lose oxygen, then they are certain to suffer as a result. So it's like, if we could just understand that we got to make sure that we are operating at the highest tier, that you're personally informed of how to be the best version of yourself, the rest of the externals will solve themselves on their own as a result of you beginning or continuing or advancing and excelling on that journey first. If you're like, all right, I got to drink less soda, or I got to change the food that I eat, or I got to change my sleeping pattern, or change the people that I associate with, the people that I spend time with. I got to change how much alcohol I consume. I got to change how much I exercise, or how frequently I exercise, or how hard I exercise. I got to be more educated about life. I got to understand my credit score. I got to understand finance. I got to open another bank account. I got to make sure that I have a diversified portfolio of assets. I got to make sure that I have cash flow, that I have food in storage. I got to make sure that I got water in storage. I got to make sure that I can protect myself mentally. I got to audit the information that comes in my brain and what comes out of my mouth. I got to be careful what I say because I am listening. I got to be careful of the thoughts that I have internally. I got to make sure that I pay attention to my own mental toughness. I got to make sure that I persevere through any upcoming challenge, and there will be many. I got to make sure that I'm prepared for adversity. I got to make sure that I'm prepared for somebody to do me wrong. I got to make sure that I got my head on a swivel, that I'm watching my back, that the people in my immediate social circle are strong and there for the right reasons. I got to make sure that I got money in the bank, that I got backup cash, that I have a cash flow, that I have skills and talents that will allow me to create value for myself, not only now, but going into the future. I got to make sure if I lose my job or lose my connection or lose my location or lose my house, that I have a backup, that I have a plan, that I have a strategy. If I get sick, if I lose this, if I am disabled, if I am whatever, if I get hit by a bus, I have a strategy, I have a plan. I got to make sure that I'm getting smarter all the time, that I'm learning more. I'm learning how to be a more valuable and productive member of society. I'm figuring out how to learn how to do a new skill. Oh, I don't know how to use this type of phone. I don't know how to use the internet. I don't know how to use this. I don't know how to make a video. Learn how to make a video. Go on YouTube. Become better. Read more books. Listen to more podcasts. Change the information that you consume on a daily basis. Focus on things that are focusing on your own independence and your own self-preservation. Be a person that focuses on spreading the cause of liberty and rugged individualism. Make sure that you understand that you know how to survive and the people around you are protected. Put yourself in a place that you want to live. Make sure that you got the weather that you want to live in. Make sure that you're in the city that you want to live in. Make sure that you're insulated and protected and that the people around you that you care about the most are also informed. Make sure that you do the best that you can to inform those people or move to people that are willing to be informed. Make sure that you change the conversation. Change what you watch. Change what you consume. Consume both sides of the equation. Consume both sides of every argument. Try to monitor your feelings. Try to monitor your emotion. Try to have the peaks and valleys be less severe. Instead of going way up and way down, don't celebrate the highs too much. Don't get too down on the downs. Understand that every time you're down, it's a springboard to go up. Understand that whenever you're in a moment of struggle, it's usually the bottom and the next point is up. What did you learn while you were down? What did you learn while you started to cut back on the things that weren't necessary? What did you do when you trimmed the fat and you started to find only the things that matter? Remove expenses that are unnecessary and find ways that create cash flow. Find things that could create cash flow in the event of your untimely death, in the event of your untimely being disabled. Figure out and understand how cash flow works, where it comes from, and try to invest in as many assets as you can, especially assets they appreciate. Learn the system of money. Understand the economy and how it works. Listen to people like Ron Paul, the Ron Paul Liberty Report. Listen to people like Peter Schiff. Change the conversation. Change the things that you pay attention to. Listen to podcasts about the economy. Listen to podcasts about money. Listen and understand how money works, where it comes from, and what makes the economy go up and what makes it go down. Pay attention to the stock markets. Pay attention to financial news. Understand that you need to know your credit score all the time now in perpetuity for forever. If you have bad credit, fix it. Go on Credit Karma, make a free account, and fix your credit. Look at what's making the credit go down. Pay off the debts that you don't need to have there. Remove the unnecessary marks and pay your debt down. Eliminate unnecessary expenses, but most importantly, focus on how to earn more. Don't worry about lesser than, figure out how to create more production. You can't cut your way to prosperity. You can't reduce your way to wealth. You have to increase your income. Don't worry so much about reducing your expenses. Focus much more on increasing your income. The way that you increase your income is increase your output. The way you increase your output, the very beginning of all generation of cash, is you try to figure out, how do I help people the most? How do I help the most people? How do I produce the most value for others? You want to get rich? Help a lot of people. Find a problem, solve the problem. Ask people what their problem is. Ask the people around you, what do they need help with? Cut the guy's lawn next door. Wash his car. Wash her car. Help them out at work. Do some menial task. Figure out a way to create some additional flow of cash so that you can create independent wealth for yourself, so you can prosper beyond the trappings of this modern world that leads us to believe that we have to have some job and show up at 9 and end at 5 and go to lunch and eat your food out of a pail and sit in your car and relax for 5 minutes or go smoke a cigarette. Hold the people that you believe to be in control, the people that are supposedly your leaders, hold them accountable, and also hold yourself accountable. Make sure that you focus on improving your operation day to day, week to week, month to month. What are you doing to be better? What are you doing to change your operation? How are you going to change your own life? Because that's the only way that you'll change anybody else around you's life. And after all of those things, make sure that you pay attention to the goings on in the world and you understand that these people are making decisions on your behalf, that these people are acting on your behalf. It's your responsibility to know who your local officials are, your state officials are, and pay attention. Change the hour that you were going to spend on Netflix and consume some other type of information that's going to help you be a better functioning member of society, where you could contribute back and ultimately change the world in so many ways. Figure out how to make more money in less time. Figure out how to create more output with the same amount of effort. Figure out how to create value for others, and you'll create value for yourself. And then probably most importantly of all, the most important lesson of all, if I could glean one to be the most important one, understand that you wouldn't be faced with a challenge that you couldn't accomplish, that you couldn't succeed through. You wouldn't be given a challenge that was unsurmountable within your lifetime. You have all the tools necessary to solve all the problems. In the same way that nature gives us all the tools to solve all the problems. The earth, as perfect as it is, and life, as perfect as it is and imperfect as it is, all the solutions to every ailment is on earth. Every sickness, there's a solution in nature. It's an ecosystem. The plants eat the output of this. This is bad. This is waste product. It's food to something else. It's a cycle. It's yin and yang. It's duality. All the bad things that are happening out there in the world, there's an equal and opposite reaction of good. All these bad things that you're seeing, there's good that's happening as a result. It's all cyclical, and you're just enjoying the ride. So aside from the rest, aside from how bad it is, aside from how much you need to contribute and all these things that you need to do while you're here, make sure that aside from it all, that you're thankful and grateful that you're here, that you even have the ability to experience this, and how beautiful it is, and how mysterious and amazing that you even made it this far. What a beautiful thing. What a great thing life is. How awesome is this? But much like a video game that's too easy to beat, a life well lived would be one that was wrought with challenges. You would choose these challenges if you were able to pick your life out of a hat. I would wager that the vast majority of people, whether they could realize it right now or not, would pick the decisions and the lifestyle and the life that they have right now if they had to, even with all the bad stuff. Because it made them better. It made it better. So, with that being said, it's all going to work out. It's all going to come out in the wash. The good guys win. We will persevere. And the light will succeed over the darkness all the time. It doesn't mean that there won't be darkness, and it doesn't mean that darkness will not exist. It just means that if you are a beacon of light, a truth distributor and a person that's doing the best that they can, that's all you can ask for from yourself, and that's all the world can ask for from you. Leave the world a better place than it was when you got here. Care about things beyond yourself, and make sure that you care about yourself as well. And again, enjoy the ride, because I do believe that it will all work out, and I do believe that the light wins in the end, for sure. All we can hope for is that we contribute or add to that light. Because in this equation, 1 + 1 = 3. It multiplies. It's not a 1-to-1 add. If your light combines with my light, combines with the light of so many others, the world can prosper much more than it has up until this point. And I would wager that there is a ridiculous long line of historical precedent to prove to us that that is the case, as so many good things have happened. And as bad as it is, it's still very great and objectively better than at any other time in history. So let's keep that going. Let's make sure that we do our part like so many people before us have done their part. That is the end of the podcast. I just stopped the audio. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it so much. I saw a couple Venmos come in. I appreciate that so much. Thank you guys for doing that. Thank you, everybody on TikTok, for being here. I appreciate that. This has been a very well-attended live stream, especially one that was unannounced. So thank you so much for that. Thank you to the people that bought the badges on Instagram. I really appreciate it. Tahiti Buzz 777, Danny 22, T and Graham Crackers, Sylvia Mishki, Jimmy's Juniper, Maria Fataruso, Lana Liberty, Chooks Official, and CGC 411. Thank you guys so much for the badges on Instagram. Thanks to everybody. Please make sure that you go on Spotify and or Apple Podcasts or wherever you consume podcasts, and make sure that you please leave a review for the podcast. Subscribe if you could. I would really appreciate it. Comment on the video on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. If you're on Instagram, please click the arrow and make sure that you follow me. If you're on TikTok, I don't know where you click, maybe up here. Please make sure that you follow me. If you like what you saw here, please leave a review. Please consider sharing the channel. Please consider sharing this information if you liked it, and I hope that it provided you a little bit of benefit and a little bit of value. Go and leave me a review. Find every link for the podcast at bobbysauceshow.com, and the place where you can find everything me is bobbysauce.com. If you want to follow me everywhere, I'm on Getter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, everything. Go to followbobby.com, and you can follow along at all the social channels. Go to bobbysauceshow.com for links to all the podcasts. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you kindly. I really sincerely appreciate it. And go out and be great. Appreciate it. Facebook, YouTube. See you later. TikTok. Thank you for being here.